So my story is I'm actually a good friend with Dave, and I'm a civil engineer, so I'm not a programmer, but I want to be. So as a wannabe developer, one of the things you do is you start on the gateway drugs of like WordPress and HTML and CSS. You move on to Java, and you do some SQL, and you do some other stuff. And so now I've kind of progressed on the Rails. And so to learn Rails, I've been trying to find a problem that has a personal aspect to it, so I can solve my own problem while learning a web app or learning a new technology. So I'm kind of killing a flock of birds with one stone, so to speak. So the one thing I have, it's a health issue with my family, is that I have hypertension. So I go to a cardiologist, and every time I go, I gotta bring my drugs. And then the other thing I gotta bring is my record, which is my blood pressure record, which I have to take every day, and I have to submit it or put it somewhere, right? So obviously, there's a couple of issues. I'm pretty busy, so I don't like doing it. I often forget. And at the end of the 6-month period, it's like I have like a handful of readings, right? So obviously the issue is now, well, how do I create a web application using Rails that can kind of tie that together and help other people? Because I'm like on the way young end of hypertension. So it's just high blood pressure basically, right? And so people, I go to the cardiologist's office and people are like in their 70s, right? And they're like all old and like the doctor's spending time with them. So my idea is to create a web app to, first of all, help people record their blood pressure, right? That's really easy. So have a form or an interface where people can just log in, and then you would just enter your record. Using Rails, you can, I'm sure, email it directly. So if you just compile your data, just keep like really simple, right? Date, measurement. It'll compile it for you, and then enter the email of your doctor, and it'll send it off every 6 or whatever, 12 months. And then kind of as add-ons or more features, I'm thinking of doing a community, a loose community, not like a network, but you can just have a login, and you can have like a journal, you can have like tips, kind of like WordPress. You can just have little plugins that'll help you, maybe like a daily health tip, or your doctor can get involved and he has his login and he can post notes or reminders, right? External links, stuff like that. So there's a lot of ideas. It's kind of half-baked, but you know, for me, it'd be a great way for me to learn Rails and also kind of solve my own problem, because I can eat my own dog food and submit my blood pressure and email it to my doctor. So it kind of does that for me. So I'm probably looking at about a 6-month time frame to put everything together. So that's kind of my idea, and I'd love to have some feedback on that. That's just kind of the passion of it.
I think it'd be a cool mobile app.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I was thinking that too. And the thing with Rails is once you build that out and you build a server, all you really have to do is then go grab some iPhone or Android deal and it'll port. It basically just...
Yeah, you build a REST service with Rails.
Yeah, it goes from your phone to your server. That's all it does. So it's pretty straightforward. So it's a good idea.
You can use it for other things like diabetes, like in insulin and those sorts of things.
Write an API. I can write an API. Okay, so an API is just library code that anybody can pick up. So if you went to say Twitter is an API and you can create, right. So that's it's basically creating the engine that other developers can use for anything else. So they take your logic and they can take diabetes or I don't know, what other medical, whatever condition. But yeah, that's a really good idea.
What maybe you mentioned, I just missed it. How do you actually test for that?
You just have a cuff. So it just like squeezes your arm. Like when you go to the doctor, you know, they put a cuff on your arm and they squeeze it. They have like automated ones that you just put on your like a device. But I think the biggest thing is making it really easy, because I think older people, especially middle, like my folks, ironically also see cardiologists and they do the same drugs that I use, and they like write it down. And my mom like writes it down and charts it on a piece of paper, and it's like it takes an hour.
Yeah,
it's like, I don't have that amount of time. And if I have an iPhone app where I can like put it on my hand, like set my timer in the morning, a reminder on my iPhone, have my cuff right on the front desk, measure it, and then just input it in my iPhone, and it automates emailing, that'd be great.
Yeah, here's a thought, since you said most old people are probably the ones using this, they don't have iPhones.
Yeah.
But if you can make it so that you could text it, like say, like look, you just put this information in a text, you text it, you can use a service like Twilio, you get the text, you input it into the system, and that way they can still do a mobile system. And that way on the back end you can still get the information.
Right. They could just write SMS. That's another good idea.
Is there an opportunity to I'm sure you've looked at this, but does are there any of the big ones like a Google Health or Microsoft Health Vault already have anything like this?
I think this is more like, this is just like, because
it's more the testing part or more the charting part?
Yeah, it's a measurement. It's kind of like your heart rate. Because what it does is it measures your diastolic and your systolic, and then it's like your upper and lower. So when your heart opens and narrows, there's two measurements of your kind of like your forward pressure and your back pressure.
Right.
And then the pulse is just what your heart rate is. So if you're tied, then it tends to kind of correlate.
So it's a measurement tool or it's the charting tool or both?
It's just so you can, it's kind of like, imagine like a calorie counter. If you eat, then you just put in what you ate and it calculates the calories. So it's more the measurement side of it. It's not necessarily like you have to hook up.
So it's not just the software, it's the hardware too then, right?
It's a hardware that you get externally. It's kind of like, did you take your medication and you kind of have to do that on your own? It would more just be, okay, you have your measurement, how do you actually get it to your doctor in the easiest fashion? Kind of like the one-click thing, right? Like right now what my mom does, she takes it every day, writes it in a notebook, then takes that notebook, gets some graph paper, charts the thing, brings it to her doctor, and like she's done it for me once, and I'm like, this is like way better than what I do. So yeah, I know. This is a different story.
But she know how to use all the technology.
Exactly, and the thing is to make it super simple, because she can do online banking. That's easy.
Oh, wow.
So the thing is, if like I was like, you call it something like smart card or something like high pressure, right? And you just log in. All you have to do is have a login, and it's just a very simple dashboard, easier than email. Like input it, or you could just have a thing where figure out the authentication. Basically, just you can like input it, and it just kind of compiles it for you. So you don't have to worry about any of the paperwork or the charting or like Excel, like graphing it. You know? It's just so clumsy. There's like multiple steps. So it's kind of taking something that's a little bit behind and bringing it up to date. And I've talked, and it also came up with my cardiologist because he has an MBA, and I told him I'd develop. And he's like, oh man, there's so many like iPhone, iPad things I could do. And I'm like, oh, cool. And then I started talking to him and other developers I know, and I know I haven't done the market research yet, but I have a feeling that in a niche, in a medical field, if you're trying to solve one problem, I don't think it's as well covered, say, as like if you're looking for DVD rentals, there's like 25, startups out there doing that.
Well, also I'd say the pain point is very high. I mean, if you have hypertension, I mean, it's not like you're going to be like, well, I probably don't need that. I mean, you need it. Like, you have the problem. Like, it's not like, this is a made-up thing, and I'm assuming that, from a symptom point of view, I mean, if you aren't, sort of up on the charting of this or sort of, like, kind of controlling it, like, there's some real, like, sort of physical pain of some type or some type of other symptomology that you would feel, as opposed to, like, it's one thing if, like, Twitter goes down for 10 minutes. Okay, big deal. It's something else altogether if you are feeling something physically that results of you not having accurate information on something. So I would think that, like, if there's something out there, the adoption rate would be higher than some other type of product because of the actual need.
Right. Quick one.
Oh yeah. So I was going to say. So there's a few comments. One of the companies that I'm familiar with is called CardioNet, and so they do a similar thing where basically it plugs into your phone and it does readings of your heart and your heart rate, and then basically people with heart disease, they have their own doctors, and so they run an algorithm and basically could say, all right, this person's going to have a heart attack, and so they will alert them via their cell phone that they should get to a hospital, and oftentimes it's pretty accurate. I think another thing that's really interesting that you said is that, like, oftentimes you may forget to do the test. So if you can make some sort of like device, maybe like a watch that can actually have something on it that can measure your
like blood pressure. They actually have those. It's like a thing you wear on your, it's like a corset or something that you wear 24 hours.
I've seen that.
So, I mean, that one's kind of I could see that being kind of a pain, so people might not want to do that. But if you can have something that they wear like jewelry, that's almost as if they just get used to wearing it, that won't be a problem.
I think one thing I was thinking is the analogy would be like running. It'd be like a running, like you record your timing for running. You do the running, you find a space, you find a stopwatch, and then after that, you can just punch it into your thing, and it'll compile it for you. So you don't have to worry about any of the record keeping. Kind of keeps it neat for you.
Or use like a Bluetooth, maybe like a transmit data to a device that records it.
Talk to my doctor about that. You do the device, I'll do that.
Yeah.
So just one thing I'd add is I worked a lot in state and regulatory requirements, and you might want to check whether any of this falls under the HIPAA regulations.
HIPAA is awful.
Whether what data you collect and transmit would actually be considered medical records.
Yeah.
For
Sure.
The liability.
Yep.
yeah.
If something goes wrong.
How would you make money?
Good question.
Yeah.
Think of it more as an exercise. You know, again, one idea I had was to talk to my doctor as kind of like to get ideas from him as to kind of how he would, because he's in the industry. I think obviously once you get enough users, affiliates, promotions,
I think you
kind
should
of
do
things.
insurance companies. Insurance companies will do
You sell the
anything to keep
data,
you healthy. So if you
Well, you can like sell like the data to Kaiser, right? And be like, yeah, you know, help, you know, you have your HMO cover that.
Unfortunately, we got to cut it off there, so that's the time. But
Right.
yeah, if you want to follow up, we'll have the video up tomorrow, and everyone can opine.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.